and that have been sent into us, as I signalled earlier. I'm just going to combine a couple here. This first question comes from Jenny Rickards. Is Jenny with us? Thanks, Jenny. That's good. Jenny wants to know what encouragement each candidate would give to electricity microgrids in suburbs to now allow peer-to-peer transfer or sales of renewable and stored electricity. And that goes along with this question. What do you think of the proposal for 50 community powerhouses to be set up around the country? A network that supports volunteer initiatives just like Landcare, which would allow communities to invest in their energy independence. Do you support this? And will the coalition, and indeed the Labor Party and the Greens, commit to this? Because it seems a good fit for the coalition's ideology of helping local business and private enterprise lead the way. So that's a question really about local power grids and community power grids. Would anybody like to tackle that? Josh is always first up. No, it's going to be Mark this time.
He wants to go first.
All right, go.
Well, coincidentally, I'm sure that is the Greens' policy. So the question is whether we agree with the Greens' policy, I think, effectively. We have our own policy around the encouragement of community power, which I can talk about in a sec. But I think the first part of the question before it talked about the Greens' policy was a very important question about how our electricity market is working at the moment. And although they are still not 20 years old, our national electricity market rules, which are incorporated into legislation of the different parliaments, frankly might as well be 80 years old. They were put in place in a time before really you had much by way of large-scale renewables. You had next to no rooftop solar. Storage was just, a science fiction idea. And in that short period of time, I think stakeholder after stakeholder has said to me, from the renewable energy industry, from the thermal sector, so the big three, the Business Council, organisations across the economy have said we need a thorough overhaul of our national electricity market rules. And we have said that if we're elected, we will have a big review of those rules conducted. That review will also look at the question of a long-term framework to transition out of coal, whether that would be based on the emissions of coal-fired power or the age, which is what the Canadians do. But the touchstone of that review would be to, first of all, to include a decarbonisation objective into the national electricity objective that doesn't currently say anything about carbon. And also to ensure that the rules take account of these emerging trends. And we particularly talk about the distribution of generation at a small scale and storage. And I think what that will do is start to free up the market to allow those sorts of ideas to flourish. I've probably said enough, but we also have a policy around the establishment of community power hubs based on really the model which I think is probably the best in the country of the Moreland Energy Foundation. So if you're interested in that, you can look at our website.
Thank you.
If the Labor Party thought that the objective was such a good idea, you were in government for 6 years, the NEM was there, the rules, you could have actually introduced it there. We do have an objective, and that is our 26 to 28% target. But in relation to the question of smart grids and microgrids, we're absolutely supporting that. We recently, in the Northern Territory, for remote Indigenous communities, made more than $20 million worth of grants to set up, I think it was around 30, of these small grids, which were diesel solar. So during the day, they were powered by solar, and at night, they were powered by diesel. So we are actually investing, and that was a partnership at a Territory government level for remote Indigenous communities to use renewable technologies when it was the interest of both lowering the emissions but also ensuring that people in these remote areas got the energy supply they needed.
The Greens see community-owned renewable energy as a really important part of the energy mix, and it's particularly important as we become, more densely settled in our cities, where not everybody has got the opportunity to put the solar panels on their roofs. We want to give those people the opportunity to be part of that generation and have a community cooperative that they can be part of, and to reap the benefits of owning their own power station. So our policy initiative is to have those 50 community energy powerhouses started, and we've committed some serious money of, we'd say, $150 million to get those 50 community energy powerhouses up and running. We would also have a solar communities fund of $102.9 million to enable community groups, schools and other institutions to invest in solar and solar storage. And plus then having some other money to actually enabling everybody that's operating these community energy fund initiatives to be able to share their learnings and actually be learning from each other to make sure that they're all operating as efficiently as they can be.
Thank you.